afternoon everyone, welcome to Jandara. I'm Garrowin. I'm a bit hot and sweaty and I've probably gone and overdone it a little bit too much today. So I've been getting some mowing done, and I do apologise, I'm looking a bit red and hot and flushed and oh my goodness. But what I'm doing at the moment, I've just set the girls up in a new area and I've set them up with their self-watering water bucket. So it's filling up from the IBC over there, which has got a leak, but that's not a huge drama. But I've got the girls on some fairly large chains and they've got all this lovely grass to eat. And I've done a heap of mowing. It's a heap. Especially with the ride-on. The poor ride-on wasn't coping because the grass was so long. And it is quite hot today. But the girls have got a nice area. Hopefully they don't get themselves tangled around each other's chain, because that could be a bit of a problem. I may have too long a chain for the pair of them because they could get themselves tangled, but I wanted to make sure that they could reach as much grass as possible and that I didn't have to go walking in the long grass, which is the other reason why I mowed. And we've just got way too much grass for the goats we've got, but we don't have fencing to cope with more goats or more cows. Ideally I'd love to get a couple of cows and some sheep, but I've got to get the paddocks set up to the point where I can move them around easily. At the moment I'm struggling to get anything done. So got some mowing done in that section there, got the goats moved. I did have Mary here before, so she cleaned up around this IBC nicely. I've also strung up a bit of shade cloth there on the container house, and the roof is just working fabulously. I haven't done a fantastic job on the shade cloth, but it should create some shade on that western wall, so help decrease the heat in there in the afternoons. So there's also that little bit of an air gap. Hubby's got other plans on how to fix it. But the other thing that's happened today, we got a visitor from Sandy Toe's YouTube channel, another shed warrior, and she dropped off these two little grapevines, which I'm going to be able to grow up next to the container house so that they can create shade, which will be a much better job than the shade cloth. So yeah, Christine and her husband Scott and her daughter Odette came to visit and dropped off those lovely grapevines. I'm so excited about those. So the container house is a disaster area. Absolute disaster. I have got a nice chair to sit on now though. And hubby and I finally got our queen size bed in here. Just can barely get the door open, and I can't get down that side of the bed, but my husband can, so he sleeps on that side. But it barely fit in here. Hey, this room is just, oh my goodness. And we can't have it any further this way, because if we do, that's a sticky beak.
I can go.
You can't get the door shut. So yes. And Jonathan's now got a bed out in the lounge room, which the boys use as a couch during the day. And that's just a disaster area in there. Yes, Jonathan, you can go that way. So yes. So we're making progress. And I finally got some of the grass cut around here, which was just really overgrown. There's a grapevine in there somewhere. It's in there somewhere. I've got to get in here. I can't get the goats to get in here and do it because they're going to eat the grapes. But if I don't get in here soon, I'm not going to get any grapes, which would be really sad. I don't even know if...
Grapevine.
Yes, that's the grapevine. But as you can see, the grass is taller than Jonathan. What am I talking about? This is taller than Garrowin.
No,
significantly taller than Garrowin. And that's leaning over grass. So that's nearly a foot taller than me. So that grass is 6 foot tall. Tall grass.
And
Tall grass.
It's bigger than me.
Yes, it's bigger than you, and we're hot and sweaty here today. Though there is a lovely breeze, so that's making it a little bit more bearable. But I'm not sure what that kind of plant is, Jonathan. Does anyone know what kind of plant that is? Has a lovely little purple, pink, burgundy flower. I don't know, but it's popping up all over the place. More 6 foot tall grass. I have got some paths around the aquaponics. It's making, yes, lots of cobbler's pegs. The aquaponics is doing well.
Nice celery.
Yes, if you can reach some. The celery's not doing so well. The little fish are doing fabulously.
My fish are bigger than my fish.
Yes, Jonathan's fish are bigger than my fish.
My fish are almost big as a giant fish.
No, they're not. They've still got a long way to grow. Some of the other things I've been doing is I've been adding some more plants to this garden bed. So I've put in a pella cutting that I had growing, so the Queensland tree spinach that I had growing in the aquaponics, and some of the comfrey cuttings, some pigeon peas I put in over here. That is a volunteer zucchini. Everything else is growing up around here. I've had to chop back this lemongrass heaps because the lavender is not getting anywhere after I trimmed it back, because I trimmed them all back at once, and the lavender is just not growing as quickly as the lemongrass, so I'm probably going to transplant it. The cucumber under there is not doing so great. Neither is the chocolate mint, although it's not doing too badly. None of my mint in this bed's doing all that well, actually. My cucumber, on the other hand, is doing fabulously. So I planted this one a little while ago, along with these other ones. And this one is doing the best. I've also popped a comfrey in down there. My little hydrangeas aren't doing fantastically, but they're much happier now that this cucumber's doing better. This cucumber's got a few babies on, no big ones yet, but I've harvested well over 1 kilo of cucumbers so far in the last 3 weeks. Another comfrey plant. Oh, and look at this, my first echinacea flower. See, my pineapples that I grew from the one from the store is doing well. Oh, this is another pella or Queensland spinach that I've popped in. It was actually the original trunk that I chopped off the plant before we moved to left Eagleby, and it's doing fantastically. I've gotten so many plants off that particular branch. It's fantastic. But look at the echinacea. Isn't that pretty? It's the first time I've grown an echinacea. Got another one about to come up too. I actually planted those last year, so I was surprised they came up. This cucumber vine here, I didn't cut back this vine as much as I did the others. I need to cut it back further so that it gives the cucumber more of a chance. And I've got another pella in here that's going to act as a shade cover as well. And these pineapples are doing fantastically. Got some more pigeon peas over here that I've got growing, ready to go into the garden. And some elderberry cuttings. I'm going to show you about that. I'm going to do a video soon on propagating elderberries. So they're my elderberry cuttings in progress. My red papayas that I grew from store-bought seed. That's one of my avocados that I grew from the store-bought seed. So we've spent a lot of time mowing a lot of time mowing lately. Oh, here's another one of my cucumber vines. I've gotten a few off this one. It's doing quite well too. And I've just chopped that comfrey right back and planted in there, and got pigeon pea there. I did plant some pigeon pea over there, but it looks like it died. Oh, that one's growing through the fence. That one's probably ready to harvest actually. Oops, can't do it so easily one-handed. Oh dear. There we go. I got it. Of course I probably damaged the vine a little bit. Oh, it's a spiky thing that is. But yeah, so it's got I've gotten a few cucumbers off this one. This is a different variety. So yeah, my raspberry cuttings that I got are doing well. I really need to decide where I'm going to plant them. I planted my rosemary here. It was in a pot, it just wasn't doing very well, so I've planted it here. It gets more sunlight here, and it's doing well. It's one of my avocados that I grew from seed. So just really pleased with how things are going at the moment. And the boys' cucumbers are going fantastically. So they'll have a heap of cucumbers on here soon. Oh look, Matthew's got one over there. Oh, Jonathan's going to tell you about his cucumber.
One of my cucumbers swallowed it aquaponics.
It did. It got stuck in that gap. Right there. It grew in that gap and we had to cut it off. Didn't we, Jonathan? Was it still yummy? It was still yummy.
Ah, that cooled me down.
It cooled you down? Yes, it did. Cucumber's lovely to eat on a hot day. See, the boys' aquaponics is doing quite well. It's got a couple of little fish in there.
Finish my lunch. Now for a black chick.
You want to play with the black chicks? Yeah, possibly. Matthew picked 3 cucumbers off here yesterday, so getting his weights up the shed walls. And I've got a couple of lemons on my little lemon sapling, which is kind of interesting. I didn't expect it to fruit in the pot. I really need to get it in the ground. Oh, look at that. Some decent sized fruit on there. And I've got a couple of okra here. I need to get them in pots. Don't touch it. Look with your eyes, not your fingers. Yeah, that's a blood orange, but it's not producing a fruit yet. That's a lemon tree still. So yeah, things are going well. And the other thing we did, my passion fruit vine is going absolutely insane. It's just taking over that tree. It doesn't. I haven't seen any flowers yet, and definitely no fruit. Although that could be a lack of observation, and it does go quite up there into the tree. So yes, that's going really well. Oh, and I planted one of my mulberry trees down the bottom. I don't know how well it's going to go. Let's have a closer look. It's got to catch a rooster. I'm pretty sure all 3 of those chickens that we hatched were roosters.
There they are.
So they will be going into Feezer camp at some point. But Jonathan's got to catch them. Anyway, so this comfrey that I chopped right back a couple of days ago is shooting back nicely. Excellent! Yay! He got the rooster. He likes the black one. The black one's his favourite. So the mulberry trees are actually doing quite well. They're not growing up as much as I would like them to, but they're still alive, so that's great. So what else have we been doing? We've been working over there. Madagascar bean that I got and was part of my single seed challenge for 2021 has gone nuts. So I got this single seed from Andy from McDowell Manor, and I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to harvest them all. So the beans are in those little pods, and there's quite a few on. The problem is I can't get in there because my comfrey is going nuts. I've got to do a video soon on my comfrey and do some more propagating. But look at my comfrey. It is just growing nuts and it's flowering beautifully. This comfrey is not one that will go to seed though, so really pleased with that. Yesterday the boys and I got in here because this grass was taller than me, and we cleaned out a fairly large amount of it. So you can see a heap of the grass back there still. But about that. So yes, but check out this comfrey. Especially for Robert from Homestead Aquarius. Check out that comfrey. It's huge. It's just taking over this garden. And my moringa is doing fantastically. I'd say it's be getting close to 9 foot, maybe even 10 actually. It's a lot taller than me. So my warrigal greens that I've got planted in here are doing fantastically. But look at the comfrey leaves. Look at the size of that. That's my hand. It's my hand. So my warrigal greens are doing fantastically. And my little pepino over there is doing well. So really, really pleased. The pigeon pea's doing well. It's a little pigeon pea. Can't even find my oya. It's in there somewhere. Yeah, so that's the pepino. So it should produce lots of little fruit for me at some point. So really, really pleased with that. And my warrigal greens are just doing fantastically. My noisy 4-year-old,
I'm doing some more grass.
He's doing some more grass. His sandpit, unfortunately, is not looking very sandy anymore. I got a sweet potato in there too, going nuts. And I think there's a kiwi fruit in there. But the elderberry is doing brilliantly. And that was just a cutting that I put in the ground. So really pleased with that. But this we spent hours on this yesterday. Hours. Was it the day before? I think it may have been the day before. But check out the red papaya. If you saw my video when I started Shed Wars, this section here, so bright out here. My phone is struggling because of the shade difference. Sorry, so the red papaya were about this high. They've grown heaps in the last 2 months. My moringa's doing well as well, as is the comfrey, although that comfrey I think is getting too much sun now that the grass is gone. So look at my red papaya. They're coming on beautifully. So pleased. So pleased. My potatoes, on the other hand, that I planted in here, I don't know what happened to them. I've got to get this grass out of the room. All I can see are the pigeon peas and the comfrey. So I'm going to have to dig in there and see what happened to the potatoes, because they were doing really well, but this grass has just taken over, and we had problems with our ride-on where the belt broke, so I couldn't mow, and it was just a mess. So pleased. We've made a lot of progress over the last few days, but last few weeks, but I've just been so wrecked after doing all the work in the garden and everything with the container house. Sorry, there are flies and bugs everywhere, and I'm sweating everywhere, and it's hot, and I haven't got my hat on. But I'm so pleased, and I wanted to share with you all what was happening with it. So I hope your New Year's going well, and there's future videos coming up. I'll be doing another propagating comfrey, just to show how my comfrey progress is going. Let's get into some shade. I'll be doing propagating elderberry. I'll be doing probably propagating pella, because we've got lots of that. It's an unusual plant. And a few other things. I can't think of what they are at the moment. But I've got a few ideas on videos to do in the future. But yes, I've got to go. I'm overheating drastically, and I will catch you in the next video. Remember, you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. Have a great one. Bless you.